All right, folks, a quick session recap here before we close out the week. Looking at NQ to start, we had come into the session noting that NQ did show a bit of relative weakness versus ES, in that ES was holding this structural high right through here. You had 2 days of range trading right through here. Prices resolve higher Wednesday, right? Retest, lower high, potential lower high, prices resolve lower. Okay, overnight we're back into that 17,600 area of interest. So the main watch in NQ this morning was, again, how price traded versus that 17,600 area. I had mentioned in the live stream this morning that buyers not only wanted to see prices up through 17,600, but to keep an eye on that prior day potential lower high. We don't know that that is a lower high just yet, unless, of course, you include this overnight action, but that was a significant level from the prior day session. And if you take a look at today's action, did not manage to break that high, right? So that is potentially significant. We want to be keeping an eye on NQ if it is going to be showing a bit of a change in character here, at least in the near term. What do we have here on the structure, right? Series of lower highs. So the main watch into early next week is if these lows are retested, how these lows are going to be treated. We want to see buyers defending this zone if price does go ahead and retest these lows. Now, again, the structure is starting to favor the bears, at least in the near term, a little bit more. So something to keep an eye on. Now, a retest down into, let me get onto the daily time frame chart here, so we could actually have a look at the breakout point. Now, remember, the breakout point is way down here. Talking about 17,200 area on the daily breakout point. So anytime you have a big structure where it breaks out, it's not uncommon for price to retest that breakout point, right? So it is still possible for NQ to be retesting that 17,200 area. We do have a bunch of economic data next week, so it will be a highly volatile week. As far as early in the week, what I'm going to be looking at in NQ, again, like I mentioned, is how price is trading essentially versus this near term, this week's volume point of control right through here, 17,475, as well as these lows, these near term lows, call it 17,425. It's going to be a major level of interest, major area of support, at least in the near term for the early part of next week. Now, the main objective of buyers is pretty similar to what I mentioned this morning. They want to see strength up through 17,600, breaking today's high, right? So let's get back onto the daily chart and just have a look at the structure here. So overall, generally speaking, if we're analyzing the action from this week, pretty much just consolidation, right? Pretty much just coiling. We've got about almost all 5 bars overlapping in some way here. So range bound week, we want to see, have a look at this weekly candle. So sellers are really going to be attempting to show a move through this week's low, which is that 17,400 area. So I'm going to be keeping a very, very close eye on how price trades versus this week's low, which again aligns nicely with that near-term structural low I was just mentioning. You want to keep an eye on this potential exhaustion candle on the weekly time frame chart here. Now, as far as ES, a little bit different, right? We are looking at an inside day with ES coming into today's session. Price managed to break the high of that inside day, but failed to show follow through up through Wednesday's high. So we've just got a new near-term range in play. We come from last Friday's session, big trend day, right? Anytime you have that volatility expansion move, you're going to get some contraction. We see 2 days of contraction, very similar to what we have in NQ. End up breaking out of that 2-day consolidation there just to come back into another 3-day range. So range trading does continue in ES. Essentially what we're looking at here on ES is going to be 49.30 by 4900 in the early portion of next week as kind of the main levels of interest to be monitoring. The setup does look a little better, or rather a little more bullish compared to NQ. NQ has been leading, so that is something you definitely want to be keeping an eye on. Even if you are strictly trading ES, NQ can definitely give some good clues as to what to be expecting for ES. Remember last week on Thursday, NQ actually triggered that daily breakout a day before ES, which gave us the main clue for that trend day on ES last Friday. Now, again, the structure here on ES does not show that series of lower highs, especially with price breaching that prior day high yesterday. So this is just pure range trading for the moment. So 4,900 by 4,930. As far as individual names, scan was pretty dry. I'm going to be looking potentially at Airbnb. Take a look at this daily chart. Big move today, big trend day today. We want to see a second day play here to potentially trigger a daily breakout. That's about it for individual names. Airbnb, and then whatever we have next week as far as earnings is concerned. I'll share the list of the high impact names with the weekly kickoff on Sunday. Outside of that, like I said, the index 4,900 by 4,930 for Monday early in the week. Looking at that 3-day range now. NQ. A little bit different, right? We want to see our sellers starting to pick up a little more steam here following that exhaustion bar on Wednesday, inside bar on Thursday, and then Friday resolves a bit lower, but no breach of this week's volume point of control. So that's about it for the week. Hope everyone had a great week. Hope everyone had a great Friday, Capital Preservation Friday. If you have any questions today or this weekend, feel free to reach out to me in the Traders Think Tank. DMs will be open. Be happy to help you out. Otherwise, I will see you guys Monday morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Have a great afternoon. Have a great weekend. Later.